Hi everyone, welcome to Power BI tutorial. Today we are going to discuss everything you need to know as a Power BI beginner. My name is Ditesh and I'm a Power BI pro. So what is Power BI? It's an interactive data visualization software with primary focus on business intelligence. So we can convert the data into meaningful and interactive insights. Today we are going to cover the following topics: query editor, building a data model, and visualization. However, the primary focus in this session will be on the part one. So working with Power BI involves three steps. The first step is building model and developing reports. Second is publishing to the workspace. And third, sharing with the users. So as a developer, 90% of the time would be spent on building models and developing reports. In today's session, with the help of some sample finance data, we are going to build a report. So as a prerequisite, you need to have Power BI Desktop installed in your PC and then download the sample finance dataset available in the Microsoft website. So I'll post this URL in the description. So at the end of the session, you should be able to answer the following question. First one, which month and year had the most profit? Question number two, which country is the company seeing the most success? Question number three, which product and segment should the company continue to invest in? So having said that, now let's quickly jump into Power BI Desktop and start to build the report. So here is the PBI desktop. So you should be able to see the screen something like this. So at the top right under the fields, you won't be seeing anything because we haven't imported any data set into this Power BI desktop. On the top, you should be able to see some tabs. So we have the home, insert, modeling, view, help, and external tools. Under the visualization, you can see some of the built-in visuals. Example, we have stacked bar chart and clustered column chart and some slicer tables, metrics, etc. In today's session, we are going to use some of these visuals and build a report. So there are primarily three important tabs in this Power BI desktop. So the first one you can see we have the report. The second tab is data, and the third one is model. So to import the data, there are like various options. So if you click on this home tab and you can see there are options to import the data. So there are various connectors. Example, we have Excel workbook, SQL Server, text web, there are a lot. And today's example, we'll be importing the data, which we just downloaded from the Microsoft website. So what I'm going to do is click on this Excel workbook. It'll open up a new window. And then I'm going to select the financial sample. So click on that and hit open. So it takes a couple of seconds. So there are two sheets. So in today's session, we'll be using the financials. So I'm just going to check this box, and then you should be able to see the data under the previous section. So as you can see here, there are like various columns, segment, country, product, etc. So now what I'm going to do is I want to transform this data. So I want to make some modifications to this data. So how do I do that? I will simply click on this transform data button. And when you click on this, it will open up a new window, which is called as a query editor. So once you have this query editor open, you should be able to see the data. So there are like various columns. So if you want to make some changes to your data, we can use the query editor. So I want to make some changes to my data. So example, so I want to change the segment to a uppercase. So how do I do that? I will simply right click on this column and then hit transform and click on the uppercase. And this data will change into uppercase. Similarly, I can do it for other columns. So I don't want to do anything for the country. For the product, what I can do is I need to filter out for Montana because I know this product has been discontinued. So I don't want to carry this data into the final report. So what I'm going to do is click on this drop down and then uncheck this Montana and click OK. So I don't want to do anything for the column discount band. unit sold. If you notice here, it's a decimal point. So it doesn't make sense for me to have it in a decimal point. So what I'm going to do is convert this into a whole number. So if you notice here, all the steps, all the changes which I am doing is captured under the applied step. So every step is recorded here. So at any point of time, if you want to make changes or remove that step, you can simply come here and then remove it by clicking on this X mark. So moving ahead, so I don't want to do anything for the manufacturing price, sale price is okay, nothing to do with discounts, and rest everything good, looks good. So I just want to change this month name into just month. So I don't want such a lengthy name. So I'm going to double click on this and then remove month name and just keep month. So, and again, it's recorded in the applied step. So once I know that my data is clean, so what I can do is click on close and apply. It will take a couple of seconds. So now we have the data loaded into this model. So as you can see, we have all the fields that is loaded into the model. And also, as you can see here, there are like various visuals available, and we are going to use some of them. And to the left, as you can see, we have the report and data and model. So for this demo, I want to add one calendar table, which will be used in the report. So to add the calendar table, what I can do is I can go to the data tab here, and then I'm going to click on this new table. I will use the DAX function to create a calendar. So let me name this as calendar equal to. We have the built-in function called calendar, but we need to specify the start and end time. So I'm going to use date. I need it from 2013 January 1st until 2014 December 31st. So hit enter, and this will create a calendar table for us. So once I have this calendar table, I'll go to the next tab that is model here, and then create a relation between calendar and financial using the date. So I'm going to simply drag and drop this here, and it will create a relationship. So in our next session, we'll be using a more complex model, and you will be able to see more details regarding the model. So once I have this relation, what I'm going to do is go back to my report here, and then I'm going to right click on the financials and then add new measure. So let me name this as total units sold equal to, use the DAX function sum of units sold and hit enter. So now as you notice here, so the new measure which we just created is appearing under the financials table. So this is how we can create a new measure. And now what I'm going to do is let's start to build the report. So as a first step, let's add the title. So I'm going to click on this insert text box, and then let me resize this a bit, and then name this as executive summary finance report. I will increase the font size to 20, and then I'll bring it to the center, make some alignment here. So we have the title, and let's build some visuals using the existing fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply drag and drop this profit to the blank area. So by default, it's going to create a column chart. So as you can see here, it's creating a clustered column chart. So I need to bring in the dates so that I can see the trend for a period of time. So I'm going to drag and drop this again into this visuals. So now if you notice here, it's creating a hierarchy and showing me 2 years, 2013 and 14. So I'm going to click on this drop down, and then I'm going to change it to date hierarchy to dates, and you notice the difference. So this is going to change this. So now if you notice here, we have the bar chart. So now if I want to change this, I'm going to simply click on this and then select the line chart. And this will turn into a line chart. So let me resize this a bit so that we have sufficient space for other visuals. So maybe I can use slightly, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. So maybe increase this a bit, okay. So now we have a line chart. And now I want to see the profit by country. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again do the same thing. Or I can even do this. So I can directly insert a map here. So it'll appear here. And then let me drag and drop the country. So country is here. So I'm going to drag and drop the country. So this will create a map. And then I want to see the profit. So again, I'm going to drag and drop this into this visual. So now if you notice here, we have the profit by country. Let me resize this a bit, move this to the top, and then make some alignment. Okay, so we have the profit by country. And now what I'm going to do is I need to see the sales by product segment, which product is doing good. So what I'm going to do is I'll again follow the same step. I'm going to drag and drop the sales. Where do we see the sales? Okay, I'm going to drag and drop it here. And then I can even bring the product and segment. So where is product? So we have it here. I'm going to drag and drop the product and then segment. I'll drop it here. So now we can see we have various products and segments. I can even increase the size so that it fits the space. I can resize this a bit. Okay, so we have all the visuals what we need. And as a next step, let's fill in this space which we left blank for a slicer. I'm gonna insert a new slicer here. Okay, so it fits properly into this gap. And now I'm gonna bring in the dates which we created. So I'm gonna drag and drop this here. And by default, as you can see here, it creates a slider. So I'm gonna use this drop down and then click on the list. So now you can see all the dates. So I don't want to see dates, but probably I would be interested in at least year or a month. So I'm going to go to the slicer and then under the field section, I'm going to click on the date hierarchy. So as you can see here, I can see the complete list of hierarchy. However, I don't want to see by date. So I'm going to delete day and then I don't even need quarter. So I just need the month and the year. And if you notice here, we have 2012, 39, 14. So in our data, we need only from 2013 and 14. Let's check why we have the year 2012. So I'm going to go back to the data tab here and then click on the calendar. And if you notice here, we have created it from 2012. So I'm going to change this to 2013 and automatically the calendar gets updated. So notice the difference here. So now moving back to the report. Since we changed the date, so you can see here again, we are seeing the date. So what I'm going to do is I'll click on the date hierarchy and then only select year and quarter and remove the quarter and day. So now you can see we have the year and month. So now we can start to do some cosmetic changes to the report. So let's start with the theme. So what I'm going to do is go back to the view section and then change the theme. So I'm going to keep this as an executive. So just click on this. So if you notice here, there is some slight changes. And then let's expand this a bit and see what we get. So all good here till here. And now let's make some more changes. So let me increase the, uh, let me rename the title. So I'm going to click on this visual, and then under the format section, under the general tab, let me change the title. So I will rename this as profit by month and year, and then hit enter. And then let's do some more changes. So let me increase the font size to 16, and then going back to the next visual, let me change the color scale. So I'm going to click on this, and then under the visual map settings, I should be able to change this. Let me change it to grayscale. So this looks much better. And then let me increase the title to font size 16. And now let me go back to the third visual here, and then again change the uh, title size to 16, the font size to 16. So we have this. And then moving to the next visual, let me do some more changes to this visual. So I'm gonna change this slicer settings to show select all option. So just click on this, and you know, if you notice here, now the user has the option to select, do a select all. So once we have the basic setup ready, I'm gonna make a few more changes, more of like cosmetics. So let me insert a new shape. Let me use a rectangle here, and then bring it to the top, and then increase a bit, and then let me change the color under the format shape style. Let me change the fill to something else, theme color 5, and then send this to back. So under the format tab, I'm gonna click on this, send to back. So let me increase this a bit. And now I'm gonna change the font color to white. And then if you notice here, you won't be seeing anything. And then under the properties, sorry, not on the properties. So I'm gonna change the font. Sorry, I'm gonna make the transparency to 100%. So this looks much better. So let's add some more cosmetic changes. So let me click on this visual, and then give some effects under the general tab. Let me give it a shadow. So we have some effects. Let me do the same thing for this. Click on this tab, and then get the shadow. I'll do the same thing here. Enable shadow. So as you can see here, we have some effects. So once we have this, let's go to the next step. So let's make sure we have proper alignment. So let's turn off the grid, so that let's see how does it actually looks. So this is how it looks, right? And now once we have this, I think we are almost done. So if you remember, we had a couple of questions, right? Which country is which month and year has the most profit? So by looking at this visual, we should be able to tell the year 2014 December had the highest profit. And then if you see here, which country in the company is seeing the most success in Europe. So if you see here, it's France and Germany. And the last question which we had was, which product segment should the company continue to invest in? So if you notice here, we can see the product Pasio has the highest revenue or turnover. And within this, the government and the small business are doing good. So the company should focus on this. So once we have this, we are ready to publish the report. So we can go to the tab and then click on publish report, and then it will go to the workspace, And then once you publish the report, and then you can share this with the user and provide them the required access to access the report using the URL. So this is the first session. So we'll have a follow-up session where we'll be discussing a bit more complex data model, and we'll build a better visual in the upcoming session. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I usually post videos once in a week, and thanks for watching.